All right. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Sharp Talk Podcast. I'm Tom, aka Tom Hosting, on YouTube and Instagram. I'm joined by my normal co-host, Outpost 76. That is Gerald, and you can find him on YouTube and Instagram under Outpost 76. Alex is not joining us today. He got caught up with some other stuff, so I think this might be the first podcast episode that Alex has missed. But we do have a different Alex to replace him. We have Alex, who is Alex Steingraber on YouTube and Instagram, and he runs his own knife-making business, Steingraber Knives. Nice of you to join us, Alex. Thank you for hopping on.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
So for those of you who don't really know too much about Alex, he kind of does a lot of stuff on YouTube, real similar to like what Gerald and I and Steve all do, some cut testing and stuff, but he also makes his own knives to run against like the production stuff. So seems like you've been getting a little bit into your own heat treating here, Alex. Seems like you just got your own oven.
Yeah, for sure. So let me just back up. Like when I started all of this, it was basically when I bought my house, so I had a spot to do it. But I was making knives out of like old, rusted, bandsaw blades, like giant buzzsaw blades. And then I was like, this is kind of hacky. Let me not do it this way. So then I reeled it in, and a buddy of mine was like, hey, man, why don't you just make a knife out of K390? And I was like, I mean, I guess I could do that. And so I did, and I got everything heat treated at Peter's, and it took like so long. It took like a month. And I was like, I can't do this. Everything has to be in-house. I got to control everything. So that's when I set out to just kind of like, save money, dump it back into this sort of thing, and go from there. But yeah, I mean, everything's going to be done in house, heat treating. Still sort of learning, but I mean, I got a pretty good grasp, I think.
Yeah, that's awesome.
On the whole thing. Yeah.
I think we'll talk about that here in a couple minutes, more about what you're making and stuff. But what we always start off the podcast with is, what are you carrying today?
Actually, I switched it up right before. Got the Police 4.
Nice.
And I have custom micarta scales on that I made.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, love it.
It's a good knife. I wanted to pick one of those up for a long time because that was like the original K390.
Yeah.
In a production capacity, anyhow. And it
it's
seemed like
it's so big.
It seems like they ran it hard too.
Yeah, pretty hard. This one's at 64 actually.
Nice.
Yeah, not bad.
What do you got, G?
I went back to the Demco.
Yeah, I saw that on Instagram last night, and I was like, well, there he goes. You just like that knife so much, huh?
Dude, it's just a great knife. I mean, it's comfortable. I still haven't used their 20 CV, so I can't say how that is, but the S35 is great. I mean, I haven't sharpened this thing in a couple months. It just drops right back.
Nice.
Jesus.
Are you going to pick up the Shark lock one?
Somebody was asking me that on Instagram, and the way, like, I don't know if you guys can tell, when I do cut tests, the way I hold it is kind of like a modified pinch grip, and the whole spine of the knife rests just below where my fingers bend for my palm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So with the way that lock is, I just don't see how it would be usable for me.
Yeah.
Nice.
I don't think I've seen that one. They have a new knife coming out?
Yeah,
they talked about it on I think the what is the podcast, that other podcast that Alex hosts, but they were talking about it on
Knife
there.
Junkie?
Yeah. They had him on there.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That's dope. I didn't even know that. I got some K390 on me as well. It's going to be the K390 PM2. I've been carrying this one for the past couple of days. I'm trying to do a long-term, like, in-depth video on K390. I think that's going to be the next deal to do a run on. But I don't want to spoil anything yet, but I'm not super impressed yet. So what I am excited for is Alex has made a run of little fixed blades. You call them the Shark, correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
In K390. And what were the hardnesses that you were running those at?
My target was 65 to 66 HRC, and I don't think any of them fell below 65.5. So everything's above 65.5.
That's awesome. So I've got one of those coming too. Should be here probably Monday or Tuesday.
Yeah.
And I'll run that alongside this PM2 that's more than likely 63 to 64 ish, maybe. And we'll see how big of a difference there is between them. So far, the PM2 has kind of let me down a little bit. I don't want to spoil anything, but we'll see. So that's the only thing I have new, I guess. Do you guys have anything new that you've acquired recently?
No, but I'm going to be having a couple of things come next week. I have my Grail coming on Monday, which is a GEC Viper. I've been trying to hunt one of those down for a long time, and I acquired one from a gentleman on Instagram. He reached out to me, and yeah, so that's going to be here on Monday. And then Tuesday, I actually have a Phil Wilson custom coming that I didn't have to wait a year for, and that's also going to be in K390. It has the original edge. I spoke to the guy that sold it to me, original edge, so that'll be interesting too. But probably gonna be some testing going on with that.
Hell yeah.
Just to get a nice gauge on, because we have all these different K390s like production, and then this custom, and then my custom and stuff like that. So
yeah, it'll be cool to see. I'm excited to see the results of that.
Yeah.
Did you pick up anything new, Gerald?
No.
I didn't think so.
No.
You seem to be pretty content with what you have right now.
Well, I mean, besides what I got coming from Alex, no.
Right.
No, nothing.
Yeah, we both grabbed one of your knives. So how small was that run, Alex?
That was 12, mainly because that was the biggest sheet of K390 that I was willing to buy. The next biggest was like $500, and I didn't want to drop $500 on that just yet. So I bought the second largest sheet because I had money saved up from the business, and then dumped it into that and was like, you know what, let's just do a bunch of them, see what happens.
Yeah.
Prior to that, I was fiddling with my heat treat and stuff like that, and kind of got it dialed into where I feel comfortable with right now. And so yeah, I figured let's just pull out all the stops, make 12 of them. Let's see how many of these I can mess up, and all of them came out fairly well.
So would you say that the whole batch,
better than I expected?
Would you say the whole batch thing would be something that you'd continue with, or do you do like one-offs, or?
I think I will, just because in the past I have been burned a few times by people. Like, they'll order a knife and they'll be like, well, let's do this, and this. And it's like, okay, everything's, finalized. And then midway through, they'll be like, can you actually like change this thing? And I'm just like, get fucked. Like, I'm not going to change it in the middle of making this knife. Like,
right.
And it's happened, like, I could count on one hand how many times it happened. So like this time around, I wanted to be like, you know what? I'm going to get quality scales, quality steel, and it's going to get a quality heat treat, and that's what it's going to be for this model. And then I'm just going to change the steel for every run of sharks that I do, kind of thing. So it's going to be like a production style, but it's going to be custom style as well. But not so much like picking and choosing. I'll probably have people like put a thing out and be like, so what do you want to see? Like stainless or non-stainless and stuff like that. But for the shark, definitely going to go this route.
Awesome.
For now.
Awesome. I feel like that's like the way to go. It seems like you were saying, like a lot of people tend to flake out on stuff like that, especially because you have like, you probably have the same feelings I do, where you're like really excited about a knife, and like if you can't get it right away, like your feelings kind of dwindle as other things kind of pique your interest, and then it sucks because then you want to back out. And it hurts the maker. I would never really want to do that to somebody.
Oh yeah, that's happened with like pretty much. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so
but
I think it's a good way to do it.
Yeah, for sure. And I don't take I'm not going to take money up front. Like, I think that's sketchy as hell when people take money up front. regardless of your reputation or not. I just think it's a bad business decision, because basically you're saying, well, I don't have enough money in the bank to cover any of this, and I'm just gonna hold your spot, quote unquote, with all this money that you just put up front. At least that's the way I see it. Like, I'll never ask for money up front for anything. I'll make sure that I have money stored away to afford all of the things that I need to make the knife.
Absolutely. And it seems to be like you've seen it with makers in the past that take money and stuff up front, that all of a sudden they run out of money and they can't deliver on the things that they promised. And now you're out of money not only to to make the products, but you also don't have the money to refund people, and that's how you kind of get into a bad situation.
Yeah, and it sucks too, because like a lot of those guys are like good guys, and like it's just bad economics. Like, I think that's the basic thing. Is just have good economics about it. Just buy what you can afford and offer what you can afford, and if you can't, then just be honest. And people will honestly like all the time. People are like, "Can you do a hollow grind?" I'm like, "Dude, I don't have that set up. Sorry, I can't."
Yeah, absolutely.
I turn down a ton of stuff all the time, so I think just being honest and forward, people will understand and.
So I know that you also offer regrind services and everything, and you are crazy affordable, as I just learned a couple days ago. I mean, there's some guys out there that have been doing it for a lot longer, like Razor Edge Knives. Josh, he does incredible work, but you also have a long waiting queue for him, and it's a lot more expensive. And there's guys like you and Brian from Transparent Knives that are offering regrinds to get performance at a pretty damn affordable cost, honestly. And it's awesome that we have guys that are capable of doing that now.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I don't mean to advertise or anything, but it's pretty cheap. It's $50 for a regrind, and like, I'm not gonna turn you away for whatever steel. Like, my grinder's not prejudiced when it comes to steel, regardless of hardness or what type of steel it is. So I'm gonna chew through anything. And to be honest, like, belts are $8 a piece. So I mean, I use 4 different belts, and that's just the cost of doing business. And like, the thing is that when somebody finds out about how much it costs, they don't send me just one, they send me like 4. So that cost now is down for me and up in profit. So again, it's economics. Like,
right.
You just got to look at it that way. If you're gonna, and Josh is like amazing at what he does, but like, if you're gonna charge a lot of money, you better be that good or better.
Oh, for sure. For sure. And I think at that price point, I think people aren't afraid to send knives to have them reground and stuff, because I mean, like, you don't, even if you buy a knife for a new price, you don't have a whole lot into it to get a knife that is just crazy good performance, something that you would typically have to pay insane prices for. So I think if anybody's listening to this and they don't have a reground knife of some sort, you need to get something done by one of these knife makers to get you a higher performance knife in your hands, because that'll change your mind on any other knife that you own. If you're cutting with something that's 8 thousandths behind the edge, you don't want to cut with anything that's 25 thousandths behind the edge anymore.
Yeah, and you don't want to sharpen anything that's 20 thousandths behind the edge anymore.
Hell no. Oh man. So, were you into like collecting or steels before you got into the whole knife making stuff?
I mean, not really. I was into more of the collecting thing, but not like, high end or anything like that. It was basically like, ooh, a pocket knife. I'm going to get that because I want another one. When I first started, getting into knives and like making, I was like 8 years old, and my grandfather actually started making knives when he was a kid. And he was a self-taught like machinist. And so he would machine all his knives, and I'd learn from him, but then it kind of like fell by the wayside as I got older. I didn't really care or whatever. And then I, more recently got into it because, I had my own spot to like set up shop and all this other stuff. So then I just research, and talking to people, and then just kind of falling into it that way. And yeah, I mean that's kind of how I got into it. And then just my steel knowledge has just progressed by watching all of you guys and like learning from other people and talking to other people. So yeah, I mean, yes and no, but honestly, I think there's a lot more makers coming, and I think that's a good thing. Just because now we're going to have so much more, like, so many more choices out there, and I think a lot more people are going to take risks as far as like steel type and stuff like that. And I think that's a good thing. I think that's going to keep a lot of production people on their toes, and give people more options.
Yeah, for sure. And obviously, the more people that are out there, especially for custom makers, there's more competition. So I don't want to say it's going to drive prices down, but it's going to drive people to give you a better value for what you pay for. And I think that right now it's becoming more affordable than ever to get a custom knife with a custom heat treat with custom geometry and everything. I mean, of
Yeah,
course,
for sure.
there's going to be guys out there that are offering that are elite at what they do, like Triple B. They're going to charge a lot of money for what it is. But there's always going to be those people that want to pay for that too. There's also going to be a lot of people that don't
Hmm.
want to pay a shitload for something of that quality or close to that quality. And I think there's going to be guys that can offer that at an affordable price for an everyday guy to carry at work and not worry about beating on it and using it.
Right, yeah, and that's like that was my whole business thing, was just like I looked at everyone and I looked at all these customs, and they're like, 500, 600, $1,000, and I'm like, that's ridiculous. What are they doing that they charge that much money? A lot of it is like time and hand sanding and all this other stuff, and I'm just like, well, where can I cut my cost? Obviously, if I have more machines to do that type of thing, I can cut my costs. It's just, again, economics.
Yeah,
And so that's what I did. Like, I'm not going to offer satin finish. I'm not going to offer, you know, I'll do a little hand sanding on a handle, but like, I'm not going to hand sand shape it. Like, I'm not going to take that time. And if that's something that somebody doesn't want to buy, that's fine. But also, like, I am going to do some heat treat. I'm going to cryo everything. I'm going to, not blow out the steel, and still, charge an affordable price, because I don't think that you need to be rich to afford a nice knife. Just like you don't need to be rich to afford a nice regrind or anything like that. And I just want to be able to offer it to people that can't afford, because again, like when some of these regrinds come in, that's their only knife. They saved $200 to buy, a Spidey chef or whatever, and I'm about to destroy that blade, in a good way. Um, but again, like, and then it comes down to like a custom. Like, people could save for months and months and months, and then, all right, I have this much money. What can I buy? And it's just like, sorry, you can't really buy anything in that like a custom in that quality. And that's what I wanted to offer, was that. And like, I mean, I'm not going to quit my job to make knives. Again, economics, but I'm going to offer it to people at an affordable price for sure.
yeah, that's awesome. So I just discovered you. I don't know, probably around holidays of last year. Um, I think it was actually Brian from Transparent Knives who turned me on to you. He sent a
Yeah.
video link and he's like, "Hey, check out this guy. He's doing similar things to what you're doing." And I've kind of been quietly
Get out of here.
I quietly watched for a little while before. I mean, you kind of hopped into the same community that
That's fucking
we're all in.
hilarious.
So I don't know. It's just been pretty cool to watch you kind of like I don't want to say grow, but in a sense you have, as far as your videos have gotten better. I've seen your knife stuff has gotten better, and now you're on to heat treating and stuff. And I know that's only going to get better. So it's just kind of cool over the past, I don't know, 6-7 months to watch where you've started at to where you're at now. You got a lot more personality on camera than what I do, for sure. You're not quite as good as Steve, but not many people are.
Mhm.
As far as the whole personality and loud and being out there.
That's
But
cool.
Your videos are very entertaining. Did we lose a connection here?
I don't know. You're like cutting out.
Okay.
I don't know if it's me or not.
I gotcha. Yeah, your video's a little choppy. Not too bad.
I'll move closer to the internet. How's that?
This is the beauty of editing. I can take all that out.
Oh, sick. But yeah, that's pretty crazy that like Brian from Transparent Knives, because I talked to him a few times on Reddit, and like, I don't know, he's like interesting to kind of have a conversation with, and I don't know, it's just funny. That's pretty cool though. Brian's a cool dude.
It's a small world. This community isn't that big, especially like the steel fanatics, I guess, and the makers that are emphasizing that. So it's I don't know, word kind of gets around if you're doing good stuff like that. Greg says it sounds like there's a turkey call in the background.
Yeah, it does.
So, are you primarily just interested in making your own knives now, or do you still pick up like the new Spydercos and shit that come out? Because I know that you're pretty much a Spyderco guy, right?
Yeah, for the most part, and it's only because they offer that range of steel. But yeah, I mean, I'm still gonna pick up knives. I'm gonna try to get into mostly carrying, smaller fixed blades and stuff like that. But I'm definitely, I'm excited about some, knives that are coming out and stuff like that. But it's slowly dwindling only because it's the same steel over and over and over, and then like, one company like Spyderco will take a chance on a better steel, and it's just like, cool. Now where are all the other companies? Because I know all of them heat treat off of the data sheet, and it's not that difficult. So let's get on it.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm kind of the same way. It's like you become jaded with the whole knife market because it's always the same shit over and over. It's the same. It's a flipper, frame lock, titanium, or carbon fiber with M390 or S35 VN.
You forgot a couple things. You forgot to say 20 CV and ZT, and that's the only thing they use, and they can't even get that shit right.
Yep. This stuff, I don't know, man. I had a couple new knives
that's crazy
to look at too. Just kind of I feel like I was gonna fill in for Alex today as far as looking at a couple new knives. Did you guys see the new ZT, the little slip joint?
With that Vox design?
Yeah, the new little Vox knife.
What did that remind me of? It looked like the Benchmade little slip joint there.
Well, it reminded me of the one that they already made. They just cut it down.
Oh yeah.
Did you see that one, Gerald?
Yeah, they're building another knife nobody asked for, just like Benchmade has been doing lately.
Well, it's like they took the slip joint they already had, cut it down a little bit, and they're like, "Hey, here you go.
Yeah.
Here's a new knife." I don't know, man. They have not.
Yeah, that's what kind of pissed me off about Benchmade was like they had that.
Go ahead, Alex.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I was just saying that's what pissed me off about Benchmade is that they came out with that mini bug out, and they could have easily just swapped steels, and it probably would have been a lot easier to do than redesigning a smaller knife.
Right.
I would think.
Or not even that. It's the whole thing with when they came out with like the blackout one with that new CF Elite handle material. Why not just come out with like a standard -1 carbon fiber S90V? That's what people wanted. They didn't want another lightweight plastic knife. You already have that. Just like the new Mini Freak. Like the new Mini Freak looks great, by the way. But at the same time, like people
kind of small though.
People were asking for a Mini Super Freak though. So why not just do the same thing, just mini. It's like these companies can't get, like, people ask for certain things, and I feel like as a company it should be so easy just to give the people what they want and it'd sell like crazy, but they like try and like reinvent it and come up with something that nobody asked for and hope that it sells better.
Yeah,
I don't know. I just don't understand it.
yeah. I think the knife business is the exact opposite. It's the exact opposite of all other like production things. Like if you're buying a washer and dryer, they're like, this is what the people want. They want this washer and dryer. Whereas like a knife company also thinks the same thing, and it's just like, no, like all the people don't want that bullshit that you're making. They want this, make it, and everyone will be happy, and you'll make a shitload of money. But again, they just go to the design board again, redesign everything, and it's just like what's the point? Like, just throw a different steel in it. That's all you need to do. It's pretty simple.
Exactly. I don't know. It's just it seems like these companies just don't get it, and it should be so easy. And I really want to know how well, like, some of these knives, like the Aller, sell for them. Or I mean, I think the Proper was a good seller for Benchmade specifically, but the big SOCP, all the crazy stuff that they've come out with in the past couple of years, the cigar cutter, the crazy $1,500 Crooked River gold class. I just want to know like how well this stuff sells for them, because it's stuff that nobody asks for, and the stuff they're asking for isn't crazy. Like it's stuff that they've already done in the past, just different steel, different handle material, maybe a little bit smaller. I know guys have been asking for a mini 940 for so long. I don't
Like,
want a mini.
who is all that stuff for? Like, who's that cigar cutter for? That thing's like $900. Well, who the fuck's buying it?
Oh, there was one that was like $1,500.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Dude, come on, look at that little micro knife tool thing they just put out.
The one that I couldn't tell you about that last week, it was like the day before it got released to the press. Garbage.
Yeah.
Dude, I mean,
that was trash.
Not only that, the community isn't huge. And yeah, I'm sure there's plenty of people that are not in any kind of social media or anything that buy knives. But if we're not seeing them posted even a little bit, that probably means a lot of people aren't buying them.
Yeah. I mean, there might be some collectors out there.
Like, oh yeah, for sure. Like, look at that new, what's that new Benchmade, the Steve Ranella Meat Eater
the Meat
knife
Crafter
in S45 VN.
Yes.
Like, that
the
thing's
fishing
cool.
knife that they're gearing towards hunting.
Right, but like, exactly, and like, it's $300, but also, if you've ever listened to Steve Ranella's podcast, which is a great podcast, but he is a shill for Benchmade. That's all he ever uses. So it was only a matter of time before that happened.
Yeah, I don't really listen to his podcast a whole lot, but I work with a lot of people that do, and they kind of explained it that, like, he doesn't work with a whole lot of big companies per se, and Benchmade has been one of the bigger companies that he's worked with, and I know that he's been with them for like well over a year or more, always using their knives and promoting their knives and stuff. So I felt like this was going to come eventually if you're working with somebody for that long. The price is insane, $300. I mean, you could get a nice custom from a lot of makers for that price. But at the same time, like, I guess I kind of understand it for the price, because that's a lot of R&D that's been done on that knife. I know it's been out for a while. He's been testing it. I'm sure they've had a lot of protos that have kind of come and gone in that process, and I'm sure that he's getting a kickback off of it. So they got to pay him too. $300 is crazy for that thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But another issue is, how well is Benchmade going to do that S45? And since we already know they dry grind and they have overheating issues,
yeah, look at
the size of that blade.
I thought the data
It's
sheet
not
said
tall. There's not a lot of meat there to take a lot of heat.
right. I thought the data sheet said 60 to 62. Pretty sure. And did you? I don't know if you
That's
guys.
probably where it's going to be at or lower.
I'm not sure if you guys saw the little data sheet that they shared, but did you see like their new Select Edge thing that they're talking about?
No, I didn't see
No,
it.
I didn't
It's
see
it's
that.
some sort of new process, I guess, for sharpening, and that knife is sharpened at 14 degrees per side, supposedly. So I'm wondering
Hmm.
if they went to robots grinding it like Spyderco did.
I wouldn't put it past them.
But this is the only knife I've ever seen it mentioned on.
They probably
Wait,
have
hold
to.
on.
It's so thin.
Robots grinding. Alex is going to see this one because I can't fix it. It is ground at like it's about 1.5 degrees apart on the primary grind on each side. So one bevel is like 14 degrees per side, and the other one's like 19.5 to get the
Jesus.
same size bevel.
That's so crazy.
And it's supposed to be robot ground.
Yeah, well, the robots are a little off.
Yeah, yeah.
That one fell out of tolerance on Gerald's knife.
Yeah.
Uh, Rotorocious said, I'd rather have the Waterway with LC200N for half the price. That's a good point. I didn't even think
Yeah.
about that.
And like LC200N isn't even a bad steel, and Spyderco's the only company that really uses it. Like, I think other companies would definitely benefit from that.
For sure. I was actually really surprised to see Benchmade go to a different steel. I mean, they stick to like their same couple of steels. I really thought that was going to be another hunting knife in S30V. I thought it was kind of cool that they went out of their way to try S45VN. I wonder if that's going to leak over into some other models.
It has to.
I mean, they've run everything else pretty much with the same steels for so long.
Oh yeah.
Well, I mean, look, like we talked about, as newer stuff comes out, I think that Spy 27 of Spyderco is going to be their new base steel instead of S30V. And, Benchmade finally went from 154 to S30V, but as new stuff comes out, I'm thinking they're also, I mean, since it seems like a lot of people are going to some newer stuff, I don't see it being too long before Benchmade does the same thing.
Yeah, they almost have
Yeah,
to.
for sure. Yeah, they definitely have to. I mean, I was looking at Nick Shabaz's review on the Norseman, the second round, I guess, and he was talking about the steel that they use, and he's just like, for $950, like, you should not be using this steel. You should be using a CPM steel, and like just offering people better stuff. And I think that that's the route that Benchmade has to go. They have to offer people better stuff. They can't keep using the same steel. They can't keep shrinking design, because I mean, obviously a lot of us have caught on. Like, I'm not going to buy anything, Benchmade, not because of, whatever reason, but like just because they're not innovating. They're not offering different steels.
No, yeah, I totally agree.
They tend to play it more safe than like what Spyderco does. But they're also, I think, more of a gun store brand than what Spyderco is. Spyderco is more of a, I don't want to say not really a collector's brand, because they're not, but more like a user's brand. And people buy it because they know the performance and they know that there's different steels and stuff to be had there. Whereas Benchmade, it's in every gun store that you go into. And that's because that's the most expensive knife there, that people think that's the best knife that's out there.
Well, and people cry about the sprint runs, but Spyderco has a model that works.
Yeah.
A lot of places do exclusives through them. They do all their sprint runs. It's rare that one doesn't sell out.
Right.
Yeah.
And
I think Benchmade would benefit from doing that too.
How many dealer exclusive Benchmades do you see that are still in stock? A lot.
I can still go to REI and get that 940.
That they've got the. I don't know if they do limited runs like Spyderco does, though. You know what I mean? Like, Spyderco has so many pieces to it.
Oh, they just do an exclusive and it's there.
That's what I'm kind of. I don't know, because it doesn't seem like they
Weird.
sell out nearly as fast as like the Spyderco stuff does.
interesting.
Because I've seen, like, I think KnifeWorks had the old Contago in M390. That shit stuck around for ages. Knife Ship Free had the M4 Striker. That's been around for 3 years.
Look at some of the choices they make too, though. Like, who at Smoky Mountain Knife Works said, "Hey, let's make a carbon fiber wood bolstered G2 940, charge a pile of money for it, and no one's gonna want it."
Oh, you mean the Cabela's one?
Or Cabela's, yeah. And well, no, Smoky Mountain Knife Works has one too, isn't it? Like C-Tech and carbon fiber, and it's like $350 or something.
It's that contoured carbon fiber with 20 CV.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what it is. I mean, dude, there's no way.
No. I
Yeah, I don't know. I think there's definitely going to be innovation coming soon. That has to happen. As far as materials and stuff like that, because like changing the color is cool on stuff, and shrinking it down is okay on certain models. But if you don't offer, you can get the pair of 3 in like 30 different steels or some shit.
It's crazy.
It's crazy.
Between that,
on the flip side, what's cool is Benchmade has the custom shop. But some of their most popular shit is not in the custom shop, like the Bug Out and the 940. Think about how many more they would sell.
Dude, they would kill if that Bug Out was in there.
people have been asking for the 940 in the custom shop for a long time, and I think that since this year is the 20th anniversary, I think they're probably going to drop it in there at some point, because that just makes logical sense after they release these limited edition ones. I think that makes the most sense, just to chuck that in there and then just make bank off of it. I also think that
they would too.
They're waiting to. I think there's a mini 940 coming too. It's been talked about for a long time, and the Benchmade rep on Blade forums he kind of plays into it a little bit. He said that he couldn't confirm nor deny that there was a mini 940 coming. So what does that tell you? I'm not sure how mini a mini 940 is going to be though.
Yeah, it's already kind of small to begin with.
Yeah, I think they're just shortening it up to like sub 3 inches for people with like the legality issues of it.
That'd be nice.
But it's not something I'm interested in personally. But once they have that out, it makes no sense for them not to throw it in the custom shop. Same for the Bug Out. Now that they have a mini, throw it in the custom shop.
Yeah, exactly. Like all of that stuff should be in the custom shop. If that's your thing, kind of like your claim to fame, just put all your models in there except for like the bailout and all that stuff. Yeah, for sure. I don't know why they don't do that.
The prices are a little bit high on some stuff, but it's not. I don't know, to get exactly what you want, it's not unreasonable, I don't think. Unless you're throwing Damasteel in it that they charge an extra $200 for.
Ooh. And it's basically 154 cm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If you trick out, I was playing on it the other day. If you trick out a Griptilian with carbon fiber scales, which they just added, and Damasteel, it's like a $430 Griptilian, which is a lot of money.
Yeah, it's a lot of money, but you're getting premium shit, which is kind of cool too.
Yeah. And I gotta say,
I think
I've had 2 custom shop builds from Benchmade, and they have been amazing as far as build quality goes. They're always centered. Everything is just perfect on those knives. They pay much higher attention to that.
Yeah, I agree. I got a murdered out mini grip in an M4. It was awesome.
The custom shop's awesome. I got Tactical Center says Spyderco needs a custom shop. Now, could you imagine that?
Dude, that'd be stupid.
Can you imagine that? But can you imagine how much it would devalue a lot of the sprint runs?
Oh yeah, exponentially.
It would shoot the secondary market for sprint runs straight down.
Yep.
Can you imagine if they just did the golden models?
Oh my god.
Like the PM2 Para 3 native Manix, just throw those in there, and
Oh, I mean, look, on that side, it's it's bad for collectors, but with the amount of sprint and exclusive Para 3 Rex 45, for example, you can buy one now and use it because they're out there cheap.
Right.
I mean, they pop up every single day, and they're,
Mm-hmm.
10, 20, $25 over what they cost brand new because, there's been so many runs now. There's probably 4 or 5 thousand of those things out there. So, they're not getting the money that they were before.
Right.
Oh yeah, definitely. Which is good for people that buy in the secondary.
Yeah, that's another thing. I'll
You know,
never.
it's also good to use because like the wood scale Rex 45 Shaman never really took off in price. I don't know why people don't like it. The wood scales feel better than the G10.
Really?
Yeah,
Did you pick up one of those?
yeah.
Oh, you do have one. Nice.
I need to get one. I reground probably about 15 of those things.
Holy shit.
It's such a nice knife.
That was the one shaman that I looked at and I was like, nope. I just stood, it looked so wrong. Like that wood, like I always think of it as like either like a hunting knife, like in Benchmade's case, or like a little gentleman's folder, and then you see it on a giant knife like the shaman, you're like, that just doesn't look right. I just didn't like it.
Dude, it looks weird. It looks weird once you get it in hand, though. It's like it's so comfortable.
I
Yeah.
It's better than the G10 model, in my opinion.
I could see that. I could see that for sure. Now, before you got into knife making, Alex, did you like modify a lot of like production knives?
Actually, no, I didn't mod at all. Kind of just used my knife as intended, and then just went on my merry way. Actually, the same buddy that wanted me to make a K390 knife for him, he's like, "Hey man, why don't you do a regrind?" I'm like, "What the hell is a regrind?" And then, dude, I was so ignorant to all of this, like, several years ago, and like, so I looked into it, and I was like, "Yeah, I could probably do that." And he sent me, what did he send me? Oh, the Saint Nick's Para 3 and 4V, one of the harder ones, and I reground that for him, and the rest is history, so they say. But yeah, I haven't really modded any knives. People ask me to mod knives all the time, and I kind of point them to other people that'll do it 100 times better. So
That's cool though. That's cool that you're pretty much just focused on like performance side of stuff instead of the aesthetics and like
yeah, for sure.
a lot of people kind of get into that. I think before you like I've heard that story from a lot of knife makers though is that they get into like the modding side of things first. You kind of play around with it a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
and you just kind of dove in head first. It seems like.
Yeah, pretty much. There's a lot of people that ask for mods, and like I said, I push them away. But like, I'll mod some knives for friends and stuff like that. But I mean, if you're modding your knife, you really don't care about the performance of it. Honestly, you just want pictures for Instagram.
Don't let Jake hear that from our last episode. He's always modding things. He's making them look cool.
I mean, look, I'll probably get a knife modded at some point, but like blade chops or something like that. But like, I mean, what performance increase do you have when you harpoon a blade? Like,
Right.
it looks cool as shit, though. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, look, I held off on doing a skinny Para 3 forever because I thought it looked stupid, and it is about 8,000 times more comfortable without that stupid hump in the handle.
I can't stand that on the Para 3
I want
or
to
the
try that on a
PM2.
PM2.
You can't on a
Yeah, I
PM2.
can't stand that either. Dude, I'll grind that metal. I don't care. I'll grind those scales right down.
There you go. Grind the metal down, and then you can make a new set of scales or something for it that wrap over
Yeah.
top. Yeah, I'm looking at mine right now, and you only got like an eighth of an inch of G10 before you start hitting liners.
Oh yeah, that liner would be destroyed. I don't know if it would affect the. It probably won't affect the lock at all, but it might affect like putting it back together and shit.
I do have to say this PM2 that I took apart the other day, and I chamfered the edges a little bit. So it's been a long time since I've taken a PM2 apart, like probably 2 or 3 years. and I got it all apart and everything. I went to put it back together, and all I remember is how big of a headache these things are to put back together and get like action tuned right and everything. I swear to God, this knife was made by Chris Reeve, because I just tighten everything down, it's centered and just drops. I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? So I sent a picture to BJ, and BJ goes, you better
get hit or miss ones like that, and you can tell too because
BJ told me to never take it apart again.
Yeah, I don't. But there's some you can tell. Like if you take it apart and you look on the blade, where the pivot goes, they'll be like blasted with like abrasive wheel or something like that, and you can tell that they kind of ground it down to get it to where it needs to be. For whatever reason, I don't know if it's because of warping or thermal expansion and heat treat or whatever, but they definitely grind a lot of blades down to fit and get that action for sure.
I don't know.
Yeah, see, my 2016 bento box, it is always centered, but it always has blade play. You can crank that pivot down as tight as you want, and you cannot get rid of the blade play in that.
Really?
Yep.
See, this is as tight. Like, this is locked up, like, super tight. I can't even force blade play into it, and it just drops. And I'm like, this is the best PM2 I think I've ever handled. It wasn't like that before I took it apart. I don't understand what changed. Maybe it was just changing out the factory shitty grease or oil, whatever they use. It's all nasty and black.
WD-40 probably.
That might be, honestly. Put some KPL in it, and it works great now.
I'm a nano oil guy. I don't know why.
I've never tried it.
It's pretty good. I get the heavy stuff, and it stays in there and lasts a long time. Honestly,
like even
that's another thing too. If I could bring this up really quick.
Yeah.
The amount of people that send me knives, and I'm not gonna try. I'm trying not to shame them, but the amount of people that send me knives to regrind, you guys need to reel it in on the oil. A little dab will do you.
Yes.
There's so much oil in so many knives that I take apart. I'm always cleaning them out.
It's like you need, what my rule of thumb is 1 to 2 dabs on either side of the washer. That's all you need. Like, it distributes so evenly right after that. 1 would probably do me fine, but I'm afraid that that's not enough, so I always do 2 on either side, just real small ones.
Yep. Oh yeah, that's perfect.
Well, I can tell you, I am a big advocate of none.
Really?
So you definitely don't need any on a washer knife for it to work properly.
All right, I'm gonna go down to 1 drop from now on. If you're running it on none,
I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna try it on 1 knife. I'm gonna do no oil.
No oil on every knife, G?
None of my Manics have it. None of my PM2s. None of my Para 3.
Really?
My 2 Shamans I never took apart. I have no idea what's in them.
Really?
That's interesting.
I only have like, I don't know, maybe 4 Benchmades. None of them have oil on them.
Namaste Texas says good old prison style Gerald. Jesus.
Oh my god.
So I don't know if you guys have any more steel topics to bring up, because I feel like that's what we could talk about. Alex isn't here to talk about the collecting side of it.
We can talk about whatever, man. I don't know. How do you feel about the heat treat stuff that's going on in general? I mean, I know the HRC thing was a huge debate, but I mean, as far as like the heat treat actually dwindling on certain models is pretty crazy to me.
Yeah, like, oh, you mean like the Spyderco stuff?
Yeah.
Like the when I made a video about it, and then it got shared to the Spyderco forums, and Sal said that he didn't find what I found as far as them dropping from his manufacturers, and I'm like, well, we've seen it. I don't want to argue with the man, but like,
Right.
just to keep it civil, but like we've seen it. We've literally had knives tested, and it's been a pattern that when subsequent sprints come out in the same steel, they've tended to be softer. Not always, but it's been a pretty good general rule of thumb. Like we saw it with,
For sure. And
with K390, we saw it with 4V. I went through the whole thing in my video, so I'm not going to get into that too much. But
Look, the biggest disappointment is that my Carter Shaman that everybody went crazy about, and the ones Kurt's tested have all been below 60.
it's terrible.
Dude, nobody's getting
That's
excited where under 60.
Mm-mm.
Not even bushcraft guys.
That's nuts.
I had someone comment on that video yesterday. I hadn't responded yet, but he asked, have all these been tested on the same Rockwell tester? And do you have any proof that 4V at 62.5 will cut less than 64? I was like, I don't think one's been tested at 62.5, but it's basic, it's basic science. Something that's
Kurt tested a PM2 that was 62.5 and 4V.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, mine is also 62.5 and 4V.
So it's basic science at that point that if it's the same steel, same composition, same knife, same sharpening and everything, the one that's 1.5 points harder is gonna cut longer. Like, it's just, why would the softer one cut longer? Like, it wouldn't make any sense unless the one at 64 is just completely trashed as far as the heat treat went, but that's not what we've seen. But it also doesn't make much sense to me. The Mannix has been coming in hard, then the run right after the PM2 is coming in softer.
Yeah, and I think people like to argue just for the sake of arguing. Like, they'll see someone else's video and be like, well, this person says this, and then like they'll bring that argument to another, thing, and it's just like, just shut the fuck up. Hard things cut longer than soft things. Let's just call it what it is, and then we can test other stuff from there. It's just, and I think that people are upset. They're like, oh, don't vilify Spyderco because blah, blah, blah. It's just like, no, like, we need to hold people accountable for things.
Yeah. I mean, I love
like, if
Spyderco.
I promised 65 to 66 HRC and then I gave you your knife and then you went and got it tested by Kurt and it was 63, you'd be fucking pissed.
Yeah. I think that's why Spyderco doesn't, publish their hardness numbers either. So it's like, they can have a knife that comes out like that PM2 does, and they're not held accountable for it because that target number was never out there. So there's nothing for them to shoot at. If you say this is soft, they're like, well, not according to us. This is in our target range, but you don't know that. It's not like Benchmade
Right.
that advertises that 2-point range. You know what I mean? Well, technically 3 or 4.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, so I don't know. It's just a pattern that we've seen, and it's been very disheartening, to say the least. I hope that they do better on that Z-Wear Shaman and heat treat that one like it should be. It seems like to Triple B test that Spy 27. What was that? 62, I think, off of 4
it came in at
pokes.
62.
Yeah. So that was good to see because that seems like a steel that needs to be run a little bit harder to. By composition, it seems like it's something that needs to be run a little bit harder to get its performance. Kind of like
It sure is. I mean, it has a ton of cobalt in it, so it should.
Right. It's just been disappointing to see that. on the other side of things, it seemed like Benchmade, I don't want to say stepped it up, but they've changed like the whole 3V thing, even though they're dry grinding and overheating things all to shit. But at least they're making changes based on what the market is saying, it seems like. I was happy to see when they came out with the meat crafter.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, Rome wasn't built in a day, so.
No. I was happy when that meat crafter came out to see that it was the top end of that range was 62. I was afraid that they were going to, because it was a hunting knife and they didn't want people to chip it, I was afraid I was going to see it at like 58 to 60.
Well, that's a whole nother thing right there, Tom. Look at the Microtech stuff. They picked the wrong steel and run it soft in a knife that's meant to be beat on.
Yeah. Like if they put,
hey, let's use M390 20CV and 204P at 58 to 60 and put it into a knife it wasn't designed for.
Yeah. It makes no sense. Like, it's a shame because I like a lot of the Microtech stuff and I want to pick some of that up, but seeing that, I have no desire.
Uh-huh. No, because you end up with M390 that's run at 60 with a shitty heat treat, and it cuts as much as 3V at 61 with an okay heat treat, which would have been a way better choice for something like a SOCOM.
Yeah, absolutely. That's like when I just posted my latest video about like my favorite knives, and I kind of trashed on M390 a little bit. People are, I've had like 4 or 5 different comments like, well, why don't you like M390? Why don't you like 20CV? And I'm like, have you guys been paying attention to anything, or are you just living under a rock? Because this is something that happens with almost every company.
Yeah, honestly, like, I think that a lot of these companies are just looking at the data sheet and they're just like, oh, okay, let's just heat treat it to this, and like blowing stuff out. And I don't know how, because it's actually really difficult to blow out, stuff on a PM steel, but they are, and people are just eating it all up because it's like, ooh, M390, ooh, microclean, ooh, third generation powder metallurgy. And like, yeah, I'm not buying it.
No. And the other thing that I've noticed too is that I see a lot of people on the forums say stuff about like Laren and stuff, and Laren's awesome. I love the work that Laren's doing. But I don't think a lot of people realize that when you're looking at the graphs as far as edge retention and toughness and all that stuff goes on there, and you see M390 rated so high, well, it's because he's heat treating it. He's heat treating it. Like, it's not like a production company that's doing it. You're not getting the same performance out of your stuff that Laren's getting out of his stuff that he custom heat treated one blank out of.
No, I don't think people look at that at all.
They just see the
like they'll go and look at Creeley's blade chart and be like, well, this steel should be here. Well, that's great, but that's what he's seen from test samples he made.
Yeah.
You could just from what I've tested at M390, like 60 different samples, you can make a chart and just of that steel. And there's some pretty expensive stuff on there that doesn't perform very well.
They're throwing that M390 on there just to sell it, basically. I mean, it's a good marketing thing to say, hey, look, my knife has M390.
Yeah, and at some point, some other steel is gonna take over that spot for them.
Hopefully, it's easier to heat treat.
Yeah, I don't know. Just like we talked about 100 times, an M390 20CV 204P shouldn't be a production steel.
Absolutely not.
It seems like only a couple companies can actually get a halfway decent heat treat, and that is on the bowler stuff only.
Right.
No.
And it seems like Spyderco does it probably the best out of any production company, but even then they're still wildly inconsistent.
Oh yeah, some of their 20CV is done worse than S30V.
Have we seen a Spyderco touch 58?
What do you mean?
Like, be lower than... have we seen a Spyderco M390 or 20CV be 58 or lower?
Oh, we've seen some low 20CV from them, yeah.
Because I know that M390 hit, what, 62?
I have one of the harder ones we've seen. I have a PM2 that is 62 and a half.
Holy shit.
And on the Para 3, some have been soft, but I don't think there's been a PM2 under high 59 for M390.
I just wonder why. I don't know if it's different runs. I don't know. It's coming like
But
that
I mean,
on
some
both
of
M390
those
runs.
Para 3 and M390 have been 58.
Oh. Well then.
And out of the Para 3 runs of M390, I don't think we've seen one just over 60 is the highest we've seen.
But then that follows the trend too that you and Steve saw, that the smaller blades are softer.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, it doesn't make, like, you would think that a bigger blade would be harder to heat treat because there's more length there.
In some cases, though,
yeah,
it's like wildly all over the place, because some of the hardest 4V goes back to the early stuff. That Friedenlock Mannix and the St. Nick's Para 3 and 4V have been the hardest ones.
that is true. I also had somebody the other day in my comments ask, when he was asking why I hated M390 and stuff. But then he also asked, isn't S90V in that same family of steels? And I was like, no.
No, S90V is totally different.
Completely different type of steel.
Yeah, I mean, their S90V at 60 HRC is going to cut. It isn't going to have the fine edge that M390 at 62 had, but it's going to have a better working edge.
Yeah, just a lot more vanadium, harder carbides.
And now when I do put out the S90V test that I'm finishing up now, I do have one that is 62, and we can directly compare that then to the 62 HRC M390, and you'll see.
I'm excited to see that video. I'm about ready to put one out tomorrow, I think. I have a list of 3 steels that I avoid at all costs. I'm going to give some people some alternatives for those 3. I've been pretty vocal about all 3, honestly. So, I don't think it's going to be a surprise to anybody. But, I don't know. There's not many steels out there that I run away from. But there's a couple that are consistent.
D2.
Well, yeah, fuck D2. I hate that shit. So much, dude. It's so bad. That's been no secret. Any steels that you stay away from, Alex?
Just like any of the basic, gas station knife steels, and any of the, I don't know, definitely M390 I stay away from, 20CV, all that, just because of all the results that people have been getting and stuff like that. So, other than that, not really.
No?
Yeah. Even like, the GEC 1095, like, I think is still decent steel.
I haven't used that stuff enough.
It's fun sharpening steel for sure.
Yeah, because don't they run it kind of soft too?
Yeah.
That's what I thought. Like, I don't know. Christie seems to get a great edge on it.
Oh,
Pretty
you
sure they
can.
cryo too.
Really?
Yeah, that's what I heard. I could be wrong. I might have to research that, but I heard that they did cryo on their 1095.
Yeah. Some people really tend to like that stuff. I haven't bought a GEC in so long because they're so expensive
Yeah, they are.
for what they are. Great quality though. I've had 2 or 3 of them. They're awesome.
Yeah, they're great knives.
Every time I want to buy one of those, I look at my Swiss Army knife and I'm like, this does exactly what that does, and cost me $25. I'm like, why am I gonna buy something that just looks a little bit prettier? Then I'm gonna throw in my pocket. It's gonna get beat to shit just like this is. I'm like, oh, just throw the Swiss Army knife back in
I
there.
just don't carry mine.
Your GEC
It isn't
stuff?
that I don't like it or anything. It sharpens fine. It's got great geometry on it. It's just not something I ever think, hey, I want to take this with me and use it.
Yeah. Like when I got mine, I was always like so afraid to like scratch it up and stuff because they're so, one, they're nice looking, and two, they're not cheap, especially after the fact, like because all the runs are pretty much limited. Like you can, like, they just go up in value. Like I'm sure that Viper that you got wasn't cheap, Alex.
I actually bought that with another knife, and those two combined were probably as much as a lower priced Hinderer. That's another thing that you guys should start doing is just you got to price everything and how many Hinderers it costs.
See, I priced everything in Chris Reeve.
Oh, okay. Perfect.
Like I could get 2 PM2s, or I could get a Sabenza.
Because, like, yeah, after all my purchases that are coming on Monday and Tuesday, I was like, I could buy a couple of Hinderers with this, and, like, but these are much cooler.
I've been so close to buying one of the new Sabenza 31s. Like I've been seeing them like sporadically pop up places, and like I loved the Sabenza 21, and I loved my Nkosi, and this like a perfect like combined marriage of the two in the 31. But every time I look at it, I'm like, S35 VN. No, I can't. I can't do it. But I'm waiting for them to switch to S45 because I know Tim said they're going to at some point. As soon as they switch to S45, I'll pick one up.
Yeah, that's a good call on that. That S35 definitely turned me off on that as I sharpened it, and even at, 60, 61 it's ran at, it's not fun.
No, they do a good job on their stuff. Like theirs is the best S35 I've ever felt, but it's still S35.
Right.
I guess it might be a little bit better for me now because I don't do quite as much cutting at work as I used to. I used to absolutely need something like Maximate, and now I could probably get away with something in 8CR for a week without having to sharpen it. But that's just no fun.
Dude, you should get a Lightning OTF.
No, oh my god, dude, I have so many people that come into work and are like, why do you guys have these OTS for $300 and $400? I got this Lightning for $30 and it does all the same things.
Dude, that knife is so awesome. I have one of those. It's so sick. It's so illegal in New York State, too.
It's amazing, dude. Like, they'll look at a Benchmade, they're like, that's $400. I'm like, yup. They're like, well, I got this one for $30 and it's just as good. And I'm like, nope. Not the same. I'll let you think that, though, because I know you're not going to buy one.
I'm honestly that same guy, though, with, like, some of these higher-end knives, like the Norseman and stuff, and I'm just like, yeah, but I have this $150 knife, and why is this thing $950?
I think about things, like, from a performance perspective. Like, there's been so many times where I, like, wanted to buy, like, a Sabenza, and I'm like, what's that going to do better than what I already have?
Yeah.
And then you think about it for a little bit, you're like, absolutely nothing. It's probably going to be worse in a lot of aspects.
Yeah. Tom, that's how I bought stuff probably since around Christmas of 2018.
You got to think about what value is it giving you.
That is why I have not bought a lot of stuff. You know, and also a lot of what I carry and post and use it's just what I like to use.
Yeah.
You know, I have nothing against Chris Reeve or Hinderer, but The only Chris Reeve I like is the Num Zone, and I don't feel that I need one.
Right.
They're cool, but I mean, look, I asked myself three things. Is it going to do what anything I have right now will do different? Am I actually going to carry it? And do I really want to buy it? And that keeps me from buying most stuff.
It's so
Yeah.
it's so funny that like back when I first got into all the collecting stuff, like I was always talking myself into knives. I'm like, well, this is gonna be so good. This is so much better than what I already have. And now I find myself talking myself out of knives. Like I can't tell you how many times I looked at the Deca. Now that I have one, but I can't tell you how many times I looked at it. I'm like, that's gonna do nothing more than what I already have. Like I already have knives like my 940. Like I'm like that's gonna do nothing my 940 can't.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Talking myself out of knives, especially with all of like, not even getting into the customs. There's a lot of customs that I want to buy, and I just don't want to wait that long for a custom. But like, I mean, I've got like I had at one point like I think like 10 mini griptilians, and I'm like, why do I need 10 mini griptilians?
Holy shit.
I'm like, this is stupid.
That's insane, dude.
Well, come on now. I have like 24 Manix too.
Yeah, but they're in different steels. These were all in 154C.
Well, I mean, some are, but when you start to break it down, I have like 3 in crew wear, 5 in S90V. Granted, they're all different, but still.
Those are the good ones, though.
Yeah.
Why do you think I have 2 natives in Maximate? Well, I guess one's reground, so that's different.
Maximate is one I definitely wouldn't mind having another Manix in.
I think that's my next Manix is a Maximate lightweight. I'm coming around on it.
Yeah, I got to pick up a Maximate in the lightweight too.
I like my native a lot, but the blade's a little small for some things. Like, I wouldn't mind a bigger chunk of it.
Dude, no, look, I'm not huge on the Shaman. I don't find it to be a largely comfortable knife. But I definitely could make an exception for one if they make one in Maximate.
Dude.
Oh, the gray G10 on that would look so sick.
I would definitely get one.
It would go straight for a regrind, and I would carry that Maximate Shaman pretty much a lot.
Yeah.
Wait till they come out with a Shaman lightweight.
Yeah.
Contoured FRN.
And look, honestly, too, one of the things I think that I don't like about the Shaman is it definitely should not have that hump in the handle. It should also have skinny scales, and it needs a backspacer that comes up as far as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
My whole issue with that knife is the hump in the handle and the amount of space between the scales, between the backspacer and the blade. If you took that away, I would like it a whole lot more than I do right now.
I have that, and then the stupid little nub that hits you in your finger when you shut the compression lock pisses me off.
I've done so many D-nubs, it's crazy.
That's what I was going to do if I ever got another one. That was 2 years ago, basically. And I haven't gotten one since. I had a factory second one that I picked up to give it a second shot, and the detent was so strong on it that I'm sitting here trying to flick it, and my hand's like shaking, and then it would finally go. Oh, it was terrible.
Yeah, I mean, unless they come out with some really cool Shaman, the M4 and the Rex 45 I have are plenty. A Maximate one I would buy, and there's not many other steels I can think of they would put in that would make me want to buy one.
Maximate would probably make me get another one, honestly.
Yeah, I'd definitely pick up one if it was a Maximate for sure.
Yeah, that'd be a good one. I just can't get over the thought of a contoured gray G10. I like gray G10 a lot.
I wish they did black hardware on that.
Yeah, that looks so much better.
Well, look, I would hope you like gray because Alex just sent you a knife with a whole lot of gray on it.
That is true.
Yeah, and it has black hardware.
Hell yeah, as it should be. As it should be. Gray. I'm a sucker for gray. Like nobody does gray stuff. It's always like
I know.
black
No,
or some sort of color.
I like gray too. Gray would probably be my first choice.
Like dark gray looks really good. Like the Maximate scales look really good. Like I like the super like light gray crew wear stuff. That look
Yeah.
nice too.
Yeah,
It gets dirty kind of fast, but that's whatever.
that's what they make magic erasers for, Tom.
Yeah. I had that was my first ever sprint run. Was a gray Para 3. It was my first ever sprint.
I wish I did not sell that knife.
Me too.
I'm just waiting for Alex to send me the scales so I can put those on my smooth G10 crew wear because I like those light gray ones better.
And you instantly just gain so much value in that knife when you do that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, but I'm gonna go ahead and make them skinny though.
Oh. I was gonna say nobody has to know that the blade's from whatever run it was. Once they see that it's crew wear and it's that gray G10, you instantly just went up like $150.
Yeah, and I don't understand why.
It's because it's the OG run. It's like the old crewwear PM2s.
I might have to do a crew wear shark.
Ooh, that'd be a good one. Run that shit hard though.
Oh yeah, definitely.
63 to 64 would be nasty.
Hell yeah.
Don't pull a Spyderco and drop 59.
If I just make my range like super big and just say it's within spec.
It's within tolerance. That's good.
Yeah.
Oh, look, to not spoil it, I'm just gonna say the difference in 61.8 crew wear and 63.3 crew wear is gigantic.
That's gonna be the case on like a lot of those simpler steels, right? Like those things thrive off of high hardness. They don't
Yeah,
have
I
the
mean,
carbides to carry
1.5
them.
points on crew wear is so big.
That's,
Yeah.
Now test the one that's at 59.
Well, I have one that's soft
Do
that
you?
I know of. I think the softest one I have is 61.
Ooh. I think that's what my Mannix
I have-
is. 61.
I have the three Mannix, I have the Delica in crew wear, and I have that Para 3. I'm going to run all three. I don't know what the Para 3 is. I don't know what the Delica is, but I think with one at 61, one at 61.8, and one at 63.3, I can make a pretty good guess by results how hard they are.
I got someone in the comments here real excited for a crew wear shark, Alex.
All right, maybe I'll put a post out on Instagram, see what everyone wants to talk about. There's a few people that want Z-Wear one too, but I mean,
Same shit.
yeah. I don't know. We'll have to see. Maybe we'll do crew wear shark next.
You got to go crazy at some point too and go like 15V or Rex 121.
Well, this is a good segue then, Tom, because I have a model that I'm working on right now.
Oh.
I guess I'll pitch it. It's called the Sasquatch, and it's going to be in CPM Rex 121, and it's going to be ran.
I knew that was coming.
It's going to be ran at 70 HRC, and I already have a prototype out for testing right now with a buddy, and let's just say the results are favorable. I'm pretty pleased, and it's 9 thousandths behind the edge.
Jesus. Damn it, Alex, you're going to make me spend more money.
And it's going to be affordable.
You're going to make me spend more money. Son of a bitch. I'm sitting here trying not to spend money on knives, and he's over here dropping K390 and Rex 121, and fuck.
But it's going to be affordable.
Good.
You just have to do what I do. Just be selective about what you get.
Yeah. I think there's some stuff that's going to go here soon, too.
The problem with you though is you only have like 20 knives, so I have like 75 knives I can sell, and I'm never gonna miss.
I have a couple that I'm like, no, not a fan. It's like the
Yeah, that's
so
what's in the works right now.
so. How big is it, Alex? A Sasquatch sounds like it might be too big for my small hands. Oh, that's not. That's
You mean your
reasonable.
tiny hand?
Yeah.
I can
Whatever.
fit my whole mitt on there, and then your cutting edge. You got quite a bit of cutting edge.
See, that's what I like to see.
Um, there's like designs that where the handle is too small, and you're getting like this. That's stupid.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a full grip, and the blade is going to be, nice.
All right, Alex. I'm gonna throw something out here for you. You can do
What's
with
up?
it as you wish. The best thing that I ever see on like fixed blades and stuff is when they chamfer the very ends of the scales here. So when you get it in a pinch grip, they taper down towards the blade.
Hmm.
I can't tell you how many times I cut things like that, and that's phenomenal if people do that.
That's how the shark is.
Yes, that's how it should be. That's like so comfortable to do that.
It's not like a full chamfer, but it's like a kind of like a little like I don't know what you call it. It decreases in thickness towards that area when you pinch grip it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how it is with the shark.
Hell yeah.
I kind of did it on accident on one, and then I was like, "This is really comfortable. I'm just going to keep doing it." So.
Yeah, I use my knives a lot like that in that pinch grip to like open boxes and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Because you don't need to have like a full on like choke hold to open up a box. The box isn't going anywhere.
I open boxes like this.
See, I open things and there's product inside that I'm trying not to stab. And there's a lot of packages that say don't open with a sharp instrument, and I'm like, bet. So
Yeah.
we gotta be real careful.
But yeah, those sharks are, I think from now on, they're going to be chamfered like that just to make it easier. And then the blade shape is like, honestly, it's going to be super, it's like a trailing edge. So it's going to be super, comfortable for like slicing, cutting, skinning, kind of get everything in there.
Right.
I don't like it when you're limited on the blade shape and you can only do a few things because of like geometry or design or whatever.
Yeah. Greg wants to know MSRP on that Sasquatch. I'm sure you don't have a number for that quite yet.
I don't have a number, but it's going to be sub 350.
Hell yeah. Yeah, you're gonna cost me some money here. Son of a bitch.
Yeah, I'm going to try to keep it sub 350. Right now, it's looking like it's going to be just right around or close to that, just $100 more probably than the shark.
Very reasonable, I think, for what it is.
Yeah, and I mean it's not a huge knife. You're still going to get a good cutting edge on it. It's going to be, like I said, 9,000ths. As far as grinding it, it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. I only went through 2 belts post heat treat. So
Per knife, yeah.
So that's the only cost there is the belts. Other than that, it's going to be burlap micarta handles with orange G10 liners.
Oh, that's gonna look really good. I'm a sucker for that. The orange liners
black
look awesome.
hardware.
Well, yeah, has to be. I'm excited for that. Damn it.
Yeah. Once my buddy gets through testing, I'm gonna post pictures. The one that he's testing, the grind is gonna be different on the actual model, just because I did the grind a little further back, and you kind of hit that edge, and you can poke your finger. But it is what it is for some people, but other people may not like it. So I just want to cater to kind of everyone. So
yeah, absolutely.
I'll push that grind forward a little bit, add a choil, and no jimping. Just I don't know. I'm over jimping.
Exactly. Fuck jimping.
Yeah, that's what I like to hear.
Fuck jimping.
But this is going to be small enough to where you can control it and all that stuff. But yeah, the goal 70 HRC. I'll tell you what though, do not sharpen it with diamonds or diamond plate because it will fucking destroy it.
Well, it sounds like it's good that I bought those Veneve OCB stones then.
Yes.
No wicked edge for that knife.
Yeah, I just picked up an Edge Pro and got some. I have some Veneve stones that'll fit it, so that's what it's going to be sharpened with. I can't use the diafold on that. It destroyed a brand new diafold when I tried to sharpen it.
Why?
It just tore all the diamonds right off of it.
I wonder why. That's weird.
I don't know. I don't know if it's the quality of the DMT diafold or just I don't know.
It could be. I mean, I don't know. I've probably had close to a dozen of those things. Some seem to wear out really quick, and others just keep on going. And you just never know until you start using it.
Yeah, I've noticed that. I have one that just keeps on going, and I've sharpened K390 and 10V and all kinds of shit on it.
You know, I mean, it could also be that Rex is harder than whatever bonding agent is keeping those diamonds on there.
That's a good point, too.
Just wearing that shit away.
But yeah, I was pretty happy with the heat treat numbers I got from that. They were pretty tight. And that, I actually went off the data sheet on that one just because I needed a place to start. And there's a couple of heat treatments that I did off the data sheet, and I wasn't really happy with them. But that one seemed pretty consistent. Good. So I'm just going to go with that one until I figure out how to, bump it up to 71, 72, somewhere around there.
I think Roman just posted today one in what I think it was Roman. It was either Roman or Triple B posted one Rex 121 that was over 71. Like, god damn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Triple B has done it. Roman has done one where the Rex was at 73, which is like insane.
Stupid. Jesus Christ.
Because even at 70, it's like, and I want people to understand this, like 66 K390 is no joke. It was a bitch to sharpen all of those knives. I was sharpening for 4.5 hours the other day. Rex 121 just times that by 20, and it's like 66 HRC is good, and then 70 is like just a whole other beast. But
yeah, Roman said that Rex at like 72 wasn't great to grind or anything.
Yeah, and like that's where you get into with that kind of stuff, because like that is a carbide replacement, and if you just have a piece of carbide and try to like sand it with sandpaper, it's not going to touch it. With steel, with that steel rather, it's a lot different than anything I've ever ground before. And I understand where like the amount of money is on abrasives and stuff like that, and that's why I wanted to keep this knife like small but big enough for people to use and not really break the bank. And that's where I can like offer that savings, is just because of how small it is. Like, I'm not going to make a kitchen knife out of Rex 121. That definitely takes a lot of balls and like a lot of money, and it's not what I'm going to do. But yeah, it's definitely, people need to understand that it is no joke. And the performance that you're going to get from it is like, it's pretty crazy. My buddy has already like gone through a couple of pop cans, some carpet, like, food items, and like it still shaves hair on his arm. So
carpet's no joke against knife steels.
Exactly.
It'll eat that shit right up.
Exactly.
Yeah, if you want something to test how wear resistant a steel is, I'll send you some used floor refinishing pads.
Ooh.
And one that is a 20-inch tall rectangle. I cut it into 4 pieces with a carbide razor knife. It dished the blade.
Oh my god!
That's how abrasive these refinishing pads are. It actually turned it into like a recurve razor knife with no edge on it.
Holy shit! Yeah, I think the testing I did before I sent it out was I did a little bit of rope, and then I took a hammer to it on some oak and smashed that in half just to test the edge to see if it was going to break at all. I twisted it out of the wood. It was fine. So, but as far as the edge, it's holding up nice, and I'm pretty impressed with it. I'm pretty stoked about it. I'm definitely gonna have to buy more Rex 121. But it is what it is. It's not super expensive, but for the length you get, it's pretty expensive.
I was gonna say it can't be cheap.
It's not for how much you get. But yeah,
Worth it.
I actually live right down the road from Niagara Specialty Metals. They're like 45 minutes away from me. So
Really?
Yeah.
Tell them you'll come make an in-store pickup.
I tried to when I tried to get it the first time, but they're like, "Oh, COVID," and I was like, "Oh yeah, that's a thing." I'm sorry.
Oh shit.
And then Crucible is actually 2 hours away from me, so I'm gonna try to get I don't know. I'm gonna try to do a little tour of both.
That'd be really cool.
So everyone can see where their steel comes from. I know there's a couple of videos online, but they're kind of boring.
Yeah, that's what people say when they watch my videos too. Non-knife people. My boss at work, I told him I had a YouTube channel. And I told him the name of it and everything. He goes, "Hey, I watched some of your videos on the way home the other night." I'm like, "Oh yeah." He goes, "I wanted to drive off the side of the road." I'm like, "Thanks, buddy." You got to kind of be into it to want to watch it.
Seriously, no one understands.
He's like, "Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna watch it anymore." I'm like, I understand, 100%. Oh well, man. We got anything else?
I don't have any other new models or anything. Just those two. We're gonna do another batch of sharks and still do the regrind stuff. So that's about it.
I gotta find another knife that I want to regrind on. I'll be sending it to you.
Word, sounds good, man.
Maybe it'll be another Maximate Native, just to have a third one.
That's fine.
Already got two. Maybe it'll be the Maximate Manix. I think that would be a monster if I reground that to sub 10,000s.
I actually did a mod on a Manix. I turned it into a Warncliffe and then did a regrind on it, and it's fucking stupid.
That would be cool.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of those that turned out really good.
That would be a neat mod.
Mm-hmm.
All right, boys. We have anything else we want to talk about here? I'm going for about an hour and a half.
No, I don't really have anything.
Okay. Well, if that's going to be it, then thank you for joining us, Alex. I'm super excited for that shark to get here. It looks like it's going to be here tomorrow. It's at the post stop before it gets to the post office right now. So.
Yeah, man. Let me know how you guys like all that stuff.
Absolutely.
Curious.
I'm excited. It's going to be run with this K390 PM2 for it's probably going to be a month or two before I get any sort of video up on them. But I'm excited. You're doing great work. I'd say keep it up.
Yeah, they're not going to compare.
No, I don't think so either.
I was not impressed with the PM2.
I don't know if I sent you any of the results from what I've gone through with mine, but I was not thrilled with this first edge. Technically, this is the fourth edge, I think. Fourth or fifth.
Yeah, that's crazy that you got as much stuff as you did. I don't know. I wasn't impressed with mine either, but for some reason I still carry it. I don't know. It's just one of those steels I like.
Yeah, I gotcha. I'll have to hand sharpen it. I'm going to do some hand sharpened edges on this. I did something different with the what am I looking for? Scratch pattern on this than what I normally do with high carbide stuff. And I mean, it looks nicer, but I did it on Maximate too, and it didn't perform very well like that either. So it might just be that scratch pattern.
It could be.
It's facing forward instead of backwards, and that never really holds up too well. I mean, it looks nice, but we'll see. I thought maybe because this was a finer grain steel, for what it is, that it might hold up a little bit better, but that was not the case.
Yeah, those sharks are, I think at 600 grit. So 600 grit and then a 1 micron strop, diamond strop. So
Sweet.
That's what those are at right now. So try that edge out for a week and see how you like it, and then move on to something else.
Awesome. Yeah, that's what I ran on this was 600 grit for this first edge.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I tried first. All right, so if that's gonna be it for us, like I said, thank you for joining us, Alex, and keep on doing what you're doing with all the knife making stuff and the YouTube videos especially.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. It was cool to have a knife maker on here that's more focused on like performance side of things. I know Alex gets us a lot of guests.
Yeah,
that
I'm definitely not huge into design, but I mean, as far as like fixed blade users and stuff, I want people to, have everything that they can get in something that costs like $1,000 or something like that.
Yeah,
So
for sure. That's what I asked Alex. I'm like, hey, can I pick the guest for this week? And he's like, yeah, sure. Who? I mentioned your name. He goes, who's that? And I was like, I know that you're like in the collector's side of things. So he doesn't see this kind of stuff a whole lot. But I was like, yeah, we need to get him on here and talk to him for a little bit. I think he's a fun
fixed
guy.
blades. He loves fixed blades.
Yeah, he might actually buy something from you after he listens to the podcast.
You might.
We'll see. We'll see. So anyhow, man, like I said, thank you for hopping on here. Great having you. Good to
Yeah,
talk.
man. Thanks, boys. Thanks for having me. It was fun.
Thank you to everyone who showed up in the Twitch
Yeah,
chat.
it was.
It's been popping pretty much since we went live. So thank you guys for being in there. Thank you for everyone listening after the fact on all the platforms and everything. And we'll see you guys in 2 weeks.